Somewhere along the way, you were taught that crying is something to apologize for. Maybe it happened in school. Maybe it was a parent who said, "Stop being so sensitive." Maybe it was just the slow, quiet message the world sends every single day, that the people who keep it together are the strong ones, and the people who fall apart aren't. So if you cry easily at a kind word, at a song, at something so small you couldn't even explain it to someone else, there's probably a part of you that has wondered, what is wrong with me? But here's what nobody tells you. There isn't something wrong with you. There's something different about you. And psychology has a very specific name for what it is. Today we're breaking down 7 things people who cry easily are actually revealing about themselves. And by sign 4, you might never think about your tears the same way again. Not emotionally weak, neurologically different. Psychologists have identified a trait called high sensory processing sensitivity. People who carry this trait don't just feel more, their brains literally process emotional information more deeply than others. They pick up on things most people walk straight past. A shift in someone's tone, the weight behind a smile, the unspoken tension in a room that everyone else pretends isn't there. Their tears aren't an overreaction. They're a response to information that other people simply aren't registering. Think about that for a second. You aren't crying instead of being strong. You're crying because you're paying attention in a way most people aren't capable of. Most people learn, early and very effectively, how to disconnect what they feel from what they show. They push things down. They keep moving. They get very good at looking fine even when they're not. And for a long time, the world rewards them for it. But people who cry easily never quite mastered that disconnection. Their feelings arrive before their defenses do. And while that can feel like a weakness, especially in a world that applauds composure, what it actually means is this. You cannot lie to yourself about what you're feeling. That kind of emotional honesty is rare. And it is, in its own quiet way, a form of courage. Here's something most people don't know about emotional sensitivity. It doesn't only show up in the hard moments. People who cry easily often cry at things that aren't sad at all. A stranger's kindness, a child laughing, a piece of music that reaches into some part of you that you forgot existed. Not because something is wrong, but because something is right. Because something is so genuine, so unexpectedly real, that the only honest response the body has is tears. Psychologists call this being moved by beauty. And it's the same neurological sensitivity that makes you feel pain more deeply. You can't have one without the other. Your tears aren't always grief. Sometimes they're the closest thing your body has to awe. This is the one that hits the hardest. Because it's not just that people who cry easily feel a lot. It's that they've been made to feel bad about feeling a lot. Told they're too sensitive, too emotional, too much. And over time, that message gets internalized. The tears start coming with an apology attached. You cry and immediately feel embarrassed. You cry and immediately wish you hadn't. But here's the truth psychology keeps pointing back to. Suppressing emotions doesn't make them disappear. It makes them accumulate. People who bottle everything stored in their bodies, in tension, in anxiety, in the kind of exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. People who cry are doing the opposite. They're releasing in real time. They're not weak. They're physiologically wiser than they've been given credit for. The shame was never yours. It was handed to you, and you can put it down. When you cry at someone else's pain, a story you read, a scene in a film, a friend's voice cracking over the phone, something specific is happening in your brain. Your mirror neurons, the part of the brain responsible for feeling what others feel, are firing at a higher intensity than most people's. You aren't just understanding that someone is hurting. You are, on some neurological level, feeling it with them. That's not weakness. That's the basis of every deep relationship, every act of genuine compassion, every moment where one person makes another feel truly less alone. The people who cry when others hurt are the same people others turn to when they can't hold it together, because they already know what it feels like, and they don't flinch from it. Sometimes the tears come out of nowhere, over something small, something that shouldn't matter, and you stand there wondering why a forgotten plan or a careless comment broke you completely open when it never would have before. It's not about the small thing. It never was. Psychologists call this emotional overflow. When you've been carrying too much for too long, being the reliable one, the strong one, the one who holds it together, the body reaches a point where it cannot store anymore, and something tiny becomes the thing that opens the valve. The crying isn't about what triggered it. It's about everything that was already there. The exhaustion, the loneliness, the slow accumulation of things you never let yourself fully feel. Your tears arrived on time. They were just waiting for permission. Research consistently shows that people who allow themselves to cry have better long-term mental health outcomes than people who suppress. Crying lowers cortisol, the stress hormone. It releases oxytocin. It signals to the nervous system that the threat has passed, that it's safe to come down. In other words, and this is the part that gets overlooked entirely, crying is not what happens when you lose control. Crying is how the body regulates itself. People who cry easily aren't falling apart. They are, biologically, taking better care of themselves than the people who spend years holding it all in. They don't carry yesterday's grief into next week. They let it move through them. They wake up lighter. That's not fragility. That's resilience in its truest form. If any of this felt true for you, if you recognized yourself somewhere in these 7 signs, then I want you to hear this clearly. You were not built wrong. You were not built too soft or too much or too easily broken. You were built to feel. Fully, honestly, without a filter between your heart and your face. And yes, the world will sometimes make you feel like that's a flaw. Like you should toughen up, build a wall, learn to keep it together the way everyone else seems to. But here's what those people don't tell you. Most of them are holding it together on the outside, while something quietly falls apart underneath. You don't do that. Your tears are proof that you haven't disconnected, that you're still here, still paying attention, still letting this life actually reach you. We're not meant to be stone. We're meant to be water. And if this is the kind of insight that makes you feel a little more understood, there's a lot more where that came from. Make sure you don't miss the next one.